Hey guys, what's going on? It's Obezgaming back again with another video, and today we have a player review. It's my first inform review of the year, and it is going to be inform Denis Zakaria. Now this guy on the face of it looks like a really nice CDM to add to Bundesliga squads, so we'll take a look at his in-game stats and then see how he performs in-game and justify whether he's worth his price. So starting off with the card, he's looking pretty nice. 6'3", right-footed, work rate's a little bit strange for a CDM, high-medium, and he's 3-star, 3-star. So the 3-star, 3-star shouldn't be too much of a problem for CDM, but the work rates are a bit odd. Jumping into the stats themselves, he has absolutely excellent pace, 86 pace, and also with that split, the shadow will boost that up a lot. Shooting's okay, it's not terrible, but it's something that could be boosted with the chem style if you wanted to. Passing looks pretty nice across the board, 84 short passing, 78 long passing, is good enough for a midfielder, is good enough for a centre mid. You're not going to be playing him cam, so I don't think it's any sort of great regret that he doesn't have really high passing. Dribbling looks okay, really good reactions, which is important for a CDM to react to the ball bouncing. Agility at 70, you've got to accept the fact he's 6'3", so you've got to expect that a little bit, and the same with the balance. But the good composure and decent ball control and dribbling as well. Defensive stats are lovely, everything above 82 other than the heading accuracy, so if you are going to go with the shadow, then that's going to boost those into sort of 90 territory, which is lovely. And excellent physicals as well. Jumping a little bit low, but that's not too much of a problem when he's already 6'3". Decent stam for a box-to-box or a CDM. That's a little bit lower than I'd like to see, but excellent strength and really good aggression as well. No traits of note. I would say with this card you can go in two directions. You can either go with the shadow and have him as a stay-back CDM, have excellent pace and excellent defending and forget about the rest. Or if you do want to use him as a box-to-box, you may want to consider either an engine or maybe even a hunter to max out, get that pace really, really high up to 96 and then improve that finishing a little bit just because it is quite low if you are going to go box to box. So there's two sort of ways you can go. Jumping in some gameplay, and in terms of how this card feels, the name that springs to mind is Yaya Toure because he's a very, very powerful runner with the ball and very good box to box midfielder. Again, as I was saying with the sort of two ways you could go with this card, if you want to just have a player that you're going to have in maybe a 4-2-3-1, for example, as a CDM, and you're going to have him partnered up with someone to stay back, and you're going to let him roam a little bit, but primarily you want him to be a defensive centre mid, I think this guy is absolutely perfect, probably one of the best in the game at that role. So 6'3", with a shadow, you're looking at 96 pace, 93 defending, physical's already really nice and high, and I really don't think there's much more you can ask from this card. I think for that role, absolutely superb. Really, really strong, really good tackling, good passing. I was really pleasantly surprised by the passing. Both distance and short passing was really impressive on this card, especially for 77. I was expecting it to maybe be a bit of a fault with this card, but it really wasn't at all. So yeah, if you are going to use him as an absolute CDM, then 100% worth it. And if you've got the coins, go and get him, because there's really not going to be many better than him at that role in the game for quite some time, I'd imagine, with those stats. If you're looking for a box-to-box midfielder, then you're going to start running into some problems with this guy. For starters, the shooting is pretty woeful, admittedly. I did use a hunter on him as well, just to try it out, and it was still fairly poor. But, again, as a box-to-box midfielder, shooting isn't your first priority. My two biggest gripes with this card were the weak foot and the stamina. So, 3-star weak foot, I appreciate, you're not expecting loads. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't like using a player with 2-star. It wasn't impossible to use his left foot. Short passing with the left foot was fine. But doing anything of any sort of difficulty with the left foot was a no-go. And when you're using a box-to-box midfielder, there's going to be situations where you're going to need to use both feet. And he hasn't got that ability. Secondly, as I was saying, the stamina. That is a real issue for this card. 84 stamina seems fairly high, but when you are using him as a box-to-box midfielder, as he does have high-medium work rate, he is up and down, which is what you want from your midfielder if he is a box-to-box. But I was finding that by the sort of 65th, 70th minute, he was tired, he was looking leggy, sort of stam was below 50%, well into the yellow, and it was looking at time to bring him off. So those are my two sort of key issues with this card. That being said, as I was saying, as a CDM, tell him to stay back while attacking, pick up the ball with him, drive forward, find those short passes into the cam, into the striker. There's no one better on the game at the moment at that role. So as long as you keep things simple with him and just use him as a defensive wall, then he's absolutely superb. He runs with purpose. He's not going to get knocked off the ball with 90 strength, 88 aggression. as you can see in a few of these clips, he literally runs through people. People were trying to slide tackle me and the ball was just staying with him because he is just so strong and runs with such purpose with that 86 pace, 96 when you've got a hunter or a shadow on him. I also don't really want to be the guy to say it because I'm not advocating for this, but if you were to decide to use him at centre back, I would be very scared for your opponents because he's 6'3". You'd have 90-ish, 93, 94 pace with a shadow and high 80s into 90s defensive stats and 87 physical and 77 passing. It's just the thought. I'm not advocating for playing players out of the position. The last thing we want is another fullback at centre-back meta or CDM at centre-back. But if you did want to use him there, I think he would be absolutely fantastic. So for me, as long as you focus on the defensive qualities of this player, he's absolutely superb. If you're expecting someone to be box-to-box, for example, pulling a name out of the sky here, like an Emre Can, or even next level up, like a Goretzka, then he's not on the same level as that going forward at all. So the real question is whether he's worth I think he'll probably settle about 80-90k. Whether he's worth that for a player that is quite one-dimensional in how he plays, that depends on your situation. If you've got plenty of coins, then yeah, he is very, very good. And as I said, as a CDM, probably not many better. If you're struggling for coins and you want a midfielder that can do a bit of both for you, then I'd say, go and get yourself an Emre Can for 20-25k. Will do things 80% as good defensively and probably 20% better going forward. So it's a difficult one. I do really like the card and I will be using him, but that's because I've got the players in other areas that can do the attacking role that he can't. But anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed and I hope this helped you make a decision on this card. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.